Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. Over the last couple of days, we've been talking about some different strategies, paying attention to what you're paying attention to, think about what you're thinking about, and questioning what you're questioning. Those are strategies that I use. Now, before I go any further, let me say this. This has nothing, these are not AA material. This is not AA material. It's not NA material. It's not JKLMNOPA material. These are just my own opinions, ideas, and strategies that I employ even to this day to help me make it to the end of my day drawing a sober breath. Because after all, isn't that the most important thing? Should that be the most important thing, or sobriety? Yes, for me it is. My sobriety is more important than my wife, more important than my kids, more important than my dogs over there looking at me funny. My sobriety is the single most important thing in my life. So I use these strategies to make sure to help me get through the end of my day. So we talked about it the other day. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Think about what you're thinking about. Question what you're questioning. I want to add a fourth element called intent. My friends who spend any amount of time with me, they're going, "Oh shit, here we go, here we go." Intent. And my best friend and I have a great saying. The first time is accident, second time is coincidence, and third time is incident. And what that means is if I fuck up, if I screw up, first time I fuck up, I make a mistake. It's an accident. I can chalk it up to an accident. I can learn from my mistakes. Because shouldn't we be learning from our mistakes? I can learn from my mistakes and not do it again. But let's say I come along and I make the same mistake twice. Did I not learn from the first time? Okay. First time was an accident. This is just coincidence. I can attribute it, the second mistake I made, to coincidence. But what happens if I make the same mistake, a third time? It's not an accident. It may still be coincidence, but chances are it's an incident. Intent. Those three strategies we talked about over the last couple of days. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to, think about what you're thinking about, and question what you're questioning. Those strategies allow me to discover my intent behind an action, behind a thought, behind speaking, saying something. By using and employing those three strategies, that allows me to discover my intent, and then using that intent, I can evaluate my degree of honesty. Because don't we work an honest program, regardless of whatever program it's working, whether it's a religious program, a spiritual program? It all comes back to honesty. Those capable of being honest, go back to chapter 5, reread chapter 5 in the big book. So by finding and discovering my intent, I'm allowing myself to have a guide, a gauge, if you will, to measure my honesty. What's my motivation behind doing this thing? What's my motivation behind saying these words? What's my motivation? What's motivating these thoughts in my head? By employing those three strategies, it allows me a degree of keeping myself honest. Now, I want to caution you, though, sometimes our addiction, as I shared many times on these monologues, just the other day recently, our addiction can use our own strategies against us. It can try to ask us leading questions and to bring us back into the fold, trying to help us justify. I use the example of whenever I broke my rib on vacation. I was 4 years sober, and why? And I remember thinking, well, why can't I take a drink? I'm not an alcoholic anymore. I can take a drink. That was my addiction. Leveraging my inquisitiveness to pull me back in to addiction. And so it's easy for us. It's easy for us to kind of run on autopilot, like I talked about the other day. We stop asking ourselves questions. We stop having that internal dialogue that I'm always talking about, and therefore, all of a sudden, we become more vulnerable to falling back into those old habits, and we're a creature of habit, right? And so we need to be careful while we want to help people, while we, want to pour our hearts out to people. And I understand that, and I get that, but we have to be careful, especially whenever we're early in sobriety. I can't give something away if I don't have it. I just can't. And so I have to and that's why I said my sobriety is the most important thing in the world to me. Because without my sobriety, I'm a shit person. I sure as hell can't help other people get sober if I'm not sober myself, right? So I have to protect my sobriety. And at the end of the day, the first line of chapter 7 talks about, practical experience shows that nothing so much ensures immunity against drinking as intensive work with another alcoholic. How can I help another alcoholic, another drug addict, if I'm not sober? So therefore, I have to protect my sobriety. We want to help people. It's perfectly normal and natural for us, especially when we get sober. But we have to be somewhat selfish to the degree we have to protect our own sobriety, because I can't help if I'm not protecting my sobriety and, I end up falling off the wagon, I end up relapsing, then all of a sudden, what good am I going to be to helping somebody else? I'm not. I can't give something away that I myself don't have. So I hope this kind of wraps all this up for you. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. Think about what you're thinking about. Question what you're questioning. And try to find what your motivation is. What is your intent? And be careful, because our addiction can convince us of a lie. It can convince us that, we're just trying to help somebody out. Or no, I was on the phone this morning with an alcoholic. You're walking through a minefield right there. There's landmines all around in that scenario. There's so many scenarios, and that's why we have to keep having that internal dialogue, having that internal conversation in our brains, asking ourselves, why am I thinking that? Why am I saying that? And just question yourself, and always, always, always follow these three strategies. And I think it'll help you determine your level of motivation, your sincerity, and it'll ultimately help you go a long way in helping you remain honest when you're working an honest program. With that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I cannot be any more appreciative. If there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed, drop it in an email to me, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. I'll take a look at it, see what we can do. We'll be talking again soon, guys. Remember, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.